Before we proceed discussing your story that you have written, we must really understand that what does TAT expects or what does TAT evaluates? As you said, it was given by Murray. He said, method of revealing to a trained interpreter some of the dominant drives, what moves you, emotions, sentiments, complexes, and conflicts of the personality. Special value resides in its power to expose underlying inhibited tendency which the subject is not willing to admit or cannot admit because he is unconscious of them. What does it really mean? We are just trying to find out what moves you. That is a drive. How do you feel about the emotions? What is sentiments? Complexity is such as the problem, the personality fractures which you've got in our personality, that the conflicts which are there. And you don't want to bring out your own negativity, but unconsciously you are in a position to bring it out. There's certain things which you are not even aware of it. Okay. So the problem is, what it really is, we are just in a position to find out what we call it, how do you interact with the environment? It is the environment which creates a problem. Creates a problem. As I said, we have got certain needs. And psychologically, they are supposed to 27 needs. And these needs are really met because these needs are placed in the environment, And that is what it creates a situation. And every situation means there is a certain amount of problem. Otherwise, there will not be any situation. And the problem is, how do we interact and resolve that problem which is associated with that? Ultimately, aim is to come out with a solution. So the type of outcome, it can be good, it can be not so good, it can be bad, what was there, that outcome. Because once you put in a problem, a certain effort to find a solution to a problem, you want an output, you want a result. Now the problem is, since there are certain, you are placed in an environment, how to interact, how to react to that environment? What is the press? They call it press. There is certain stoppage. They want to create a problem for you. Okay. And so ultimately, it is your unique sets of needs, attitudes, and values, which are, values which influence the reaction to the environment or the situation that has been created for you. So this is ultimately what is really needed. Okay. Having seen that now, let's come back to the first picture. This was the first picture, isn't it? This was the first picture, correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Read out your story. Read out your story.
Rohan is a young graduate from Haryana, and after his graduation, he got back to his village. When he got back, he saw that the children in his village lacked the means and the necessities to get proper school education. So he did some research and looked for a government school for their admission nearby. Under right to education, he got the students into the school. He got the children books according to their curriculum and also rented a place for the tuitions as the children were lagging behind with the syllabus because of the gap in schooling. The children were hardworking and they caught up soon. They had their finals in 2 months, and when Roshan and the children went to school to check their results, they saw the children fare extremely well. Since then, their parents also. Yes, sir.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so ultimately, what is the theme you want to convey? You simply, Roshan is a graduate who has gone to a village. He found there is a gap in the educational standard of the children because they are not finding schools to go wrong. And what action you have taken? You have taken the children to the nearby government school which were there under the right of education.
Education.
See what you said? And ultimately, you arranged for their books which they deserve it. And ultimately, after some time, when you went down there, you found their education standard is better. isn't it? This is what you have said. Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now
Yes,
the
sir.
problem is, let's analyze from one point of view, and I'll come back to let's say come back. I'm just getting, this is what you call, can you see this? This is TAT is a projective technique. It's a projective technique. Okay. Now, being a projective technique, what we are looking on for attribution, aggression, aggressive or hostile feeling that you don't have it, you have not shown anywhere. You have shown emotion because you felt that the children are uneducated and they need to be helped, isn't it? Yes or no? So that is what you have done.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Okay. You have not added up any extracurricularities, so that's also good. You have not created circumstantial thinking, magical or circumstantial thinking. Yes, here you have created circumstantial thinking. Why? Because you think that before you went there, you are merely graduate. And when you went to a village, do you think the elders there or the people who are their parents, they have not a bother about the education of their children? This is what you have been critical. Indirectly, what you are trying to critical of the society, aren't you? Number two.
Yes, sir.
Now, their own parents are not a bother with children. And even the administration, because right of education is supposed to be every child in the country has the right to be educated at a certain level, free of cost. That is what the right of education means. It means the administration there has also failed. Correct? Now, next after that, then what is so this is what is really come back. So as far as you're projecting that you are a person who has come back from a township and you have got it indicates that you've got certain exaggerated standing of yourself, exaggerated feeling about yourself. A mere graduate, why should people listen to you? Tell me. There ought to be certain reason. How many children did you take them to the nearby school? As per the government policy, every village with certain area ought to have had some governance in any case. So how far was the school was located? Did these books that you gave it around there, did it come from your source or was it to the government source? Even from your source, how did you cater for the money? How did you bring out those resources? If it was government source, the school ought to give it as per the policy which exists. It means what? Since you are trying to tell us, that means they were reluctant. The indirect inference is that they were reluctant to give that because of your pressure, they have given those books on the system. Except for admission to the school, what is your involvement in development of the child? Is there any involvement?
No, sir.
No. So the Excel, you have taken them around there and got them admitted. There is no involvement. Very nice. Okay. And it's so the problem is you have taken that because number of it is a group of people are there. You've taken probably it can be there. It is supposed to be the notice board. So number of people are there. So that's that admission is that you have taken the impulse. There's nothing wrong into it. Okay. So this is what you call a defense mechanism. You have tried to, what does it indicate now? It simply indicates one aspect, since I have known you around there. Your own education standard not up to the standard which was there. Right? Now, what you are trying to say, the same thing you are projecting onto the children with there. Only trying to project that they will all do well. What you wanted to do well in your life, now you want to get those needs met through the children, isn't it? Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
So you want to get what you want to do well in education, in an educative curriculum, and now you want those children should be in a better position to understand what mistake you have done, they should not do. That's very right. There's nothing wrong with the system, but that is what really indicates. Okay, so this is one of the, so this is called defense mechanism. This is called project. So you are projecting your own feeling and thought onto the candidate which is available. Okay, next. As far as the other two projective techniques are, what are the defense mechanism? Denial. You have not misperceived it. You have not reversed it. Statement. You have not denied the reality. Overall, maximize. You are trying to be, so you can't afford to. Denial is not. You have not projected anything. Defense mechanism as far as denial is concerned. Next, identification, emulation of skills, emulation of characteristics, regulation of motives of behavior, self-esteem through affiliation, work delay gratification, role differentiation, and moralism. Now, what you are trying to identify? Identification, yes, it comes to a certain extent, because you want to, what you couldn't afford to do it, you want to emulate their children to do it, but it is not set motivated. So now you are trying to emulate what you couldn't do. You want others to do well. That's all. Any doubt as far as this story is concerned? So we have taken one way of.
No, sir.
Okay. Now let's come back to the second story. Let's come back to the second story. What is the second story now? Just hold it. Second story is this is unemployment, no vacancies. This is it. Okay. Let's come back. Let's have your story first.
So Rupal is a young graduate in management studies from Pune, and unfortunately, due to pandemic, he had to complete his course online. Once done with his course, he saw most of the big companies out of job and had jobs and had no vacancies. So instead of waiting around, he had a friend who was a software developer who came up with an app which could be a big hit. He took up his friend's app and wanted to make it a big success. So he came up with a marketing strategy, rounded up investors for the app, and once he got the capital he was looking for, he got a team around him. He also helped his app by creating an IPO, and because of Rupal's help, his friend found a direction with his creation. Rupal ended up being the CEO of the revolutionary app. So yes, so that's
okay. So what is now the first and foremost? Let's come back to another way of interpreting the thing. What I'll say, let's see. Yeah. So now that is on 19. Okay. Okay. What is the 19? It says there must be hero. There must be hero. Who is the hero? Rupal is the hero. Okay. In the first 3-4 lines, what Rupal has done it? He has done his graduation from management, isn't it? Rupal.
yes, sir.
Right. Second, what is done? Then you have used the word unfortunately, because of the pandemic. For the pandemic, all classes were there online. What does it mean? So there's certain amount of regret is there available into you. Regret. Okay. So that certainly indicates that the level of development that you would have had otherwise has not taken place. Correct? That certainly indicates that you are not, professionalism gets questioned to that extent. It means the self-belief. So it means the self-doubt comes into play. Does it come into play or not? There's a certain amount of doubt.
Yes.
Secondly, now you or yourself, after that you are bringing out, there is a problem of employment. Very nice. So what you did? You found that one of your friend has developed certain ad app around there. And that app, you wanted to market that app. Very nice. Okay. Who gave that money for marketing? From where did you get that money? What is the percentage of interaction you had with a friend who has given his app to you? Developer is his. His right is, he is a person who has developed his app, isn't it? Why should he give his app to you free of cost? Even if he gives it, what is his taking out, say, standing in that venture that you have launched it? Secondly, you already got marketing, and then you have hired number of people. You have a number, and you started marketing it, and you brought an IPO. What is IPO means? Initial public offer.
Initial public offer.
What does it mean? How much money would it require? Who gave that money? How much? What is the expectation? It means what you are trying to simply blissful. And then you became the CEO of the company. App is of your friend. There's no contribution from your side except for managing it. And the person who gave it, he has been totally neglected. Has he been neglected or not? So what does it mean now? So there's a question comes into play now, that there's a certain amount of doubt that you have got a tendency to exploit your near and dear ones. Correct? Okay. Now next comes, that's one aspect of it. So it's in the story, whom the conduct as, so there's this hero is there, hero is Rupal. So he that gets questioned to that quality of hero gets questioned to that extent. Next. What is the need of the hero? You want big money. You want big money. Need for money. Need for money. You want to earn money as fast as possible. That's the end of it. You have tendency to be wishful. Okay. Fantasies. You are floating in fantasies. Okay, I have become a fantasy. I have launched a IPO and all the thing, and I become the CEO. That's the part of it. Okay. Identify the press. Press is what stops you. What is the problem when you are trying to find a job? So the lack of vacancy, the press is lack. Lack of what? Lack of opportunity, lack of press. That's what will be the case around there, because there is no vacancy available. So that is the press is lack. Okay. How did he get over that lack? Details gets missed out. Okay. Now it involves the interplay of so there's a conflict. Need, you want to achieve something, so need for achievement. You got need for achievement, and you have not brought a process. Press is not at all that severe. He says there is unemployment. Fair enough. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to have that quality to that extent. Result, wishful. Result is wishful. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Right down. Okay, let's talk the third story. Which is the third story? This is the third one, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's read out your story first.
Yes, sir. Mohit is a student of class 10 from a village in Himachal. He was a brilliant basketball player from a very young age and took his training very seriously. Being from Himachal, the terrain was tough, but he always used to run to his school and run back to his home from school, as it helped him build his stamina and translated well to his game. He also had a good balance when it came to studies and scored good marks in his exams. Training was hard to become a pro basketball player, but he pushed through with every resource he had at hand and eventually went on to represent his country.
Okay, now, what does it really means? It's your self-story. It's your story, self-story again. I said don't write a self-story. Did I say this or not?
Yes, sir.
And I have maintained don't write your self-story. Even if you written a self-story, let's come back. I will try and write it on. Let's say I'll come back to 46. Okay. A story. Now, does the story have past, present, and future? Past, yes, you are class 10th student. And what you achieved? You went on to represent whom?
The country.
Represent the country. How? Sequence is not maintained. You can't really jump up from school to the country, can you?
No, sir.
So again, there's past is there. You wanted to know, you started playing basketball and you started liking it, and probably you use all the resources to do that. What were the resources needed? You have brought only one. That's why running every day to the school, you have built up your stamina. Is only the stamina needed for basketball?
No, sir.
So there ought to be certain other requirement. So cause of story, problem or trouble. What is the cause of the story? He wanted to enjoy, he enjoyed that playing match, playing basketball, that's all. Okay. Is there any distorted beliefs and beliefs? Yes. Distorted belief because you have not been in a position to indicate how and why, how have you achieved your aim of become the national player. Except for maintaining stamina, you have not been able to tell anything beyond that. Okay. Okay. Now, details are missing. Details are missing. So rate how well a story probably integrated in details. Details gets missed out to quite an extent. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So a story design, it's not a story. It's just basically a description that you have to come back. Okay. Is the story motivating? Looks to be easy, but it's not. Okay. What is your personal control in the story? You just put in effort, that's all. Confidence that you have shown, demonstration, is again a wishful round there. Okay. Okay, so that's the one way of looking at this story. Okay. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's come back to the next story. Okay. Is this story? Read out the story.
Gaurav was the leader of his NCC group and were out in the jungle for their jungle training. During scouting the place, he spotted a cannon. He and his friend went close to inspect and realized it was an antique and must have been smuggled and kept for safekeeping. He asked his friends to stay back to keep a watch while he went to report to the commanding officer. The officer confirmed that it was indeed a smuggled item, and Gaurav helped the officers with the investigation to catch the goons. Gaurav's input had helped them catch the smugglers and eventually retrieve the cannon back to where it belonged.
Okay. Now, let's try and analyze this on a different platform. We have done up to. Let's come back to the. I just wanted to give certain options. Okay, so how that? So now we have got 48. We have already done it. Okay. Which is the type of story? Is it redemptive, contaminative, agentic, communal? What is the type of story? Redemptive from negative to positive. Negative to positive. Yeah. Contaminative is something positive to negative. Positive to negative. Agentic means you become agent for change. Agent for change. Communion means you're talking about a group where it is possible. Exploratory, narrative, probably yes, you have gone wrong. So we can take it exploratory. You have gone around the jungle, you found something different, right? Okay, very nice. Now, if that is the case now, if that is exploratory is there, very nice. Exploratory extent that a narrator engages in self-exploration while telling a story. A high score, it says profound self-exploration. Means what does it mean? You have gone for a jungle training, right? What was your aim? Jungle trekking, right? Where have you deviated? You have found an antique. No problem. Is it part of jungle training? No. Right. Then what you have done? You came to conclusion that it is an antique piece. Very nice. That's a very beautiful thing. But you came to conclusion that it is only for what it says. It has been smuggled. Smuggled from where? Smuggled from where? Tell me. Which part of the world? Secondly, is it not a negative thought?
Yes.
Is it not negativity? I have clearly said that you will not bring out your anti-social and unsocial activities in your story. Your whole story has now come down to finding who the smuggler is, and you have gone into a method of act of what called policing you have done. Is it part of your duty and job? Tell me.
No, sir.
At best, what you could have done, you could have reported this to the police concerned, and they would have undertaken the further investigation. So that you have totally deviated from a main aim that you are going. Haven't you? So what is the aim? You have gone for jungle training as a part of NCC cadets. And then ultimately, they wanted to find goons and all particular words which are there. Where is the need for bringing it? Okay. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, okay, let's go back to the next story. Okay. This is the next one. Tell me the story.
Yes, sir. Vijay was on his way to the grocery shop. When on his way, he saw a group of people had gathered. When he went to inquire, he saw that a man was hurt pretty bad and lying on the street. He picked him up and worked on stopping his bleeding while he told the people around to call an ambulance. He went with the man to the hospital and on the way called the man's family members about his condition. The doctor said that he would be fine and the wounds were not critical. So Vijay stayed back until the family members came.
Okay. Very nice. Now tell me two things. Now, before we go back, let's go back to that again. We'll do it another way of doing it. Page number 54. Okay. Now, let's come back to this one. What is the type of success? Fame, mastering, situation, relation, not failing, or satisfaction. It's a situational success, isn't it? Is it a situation success?
Yes, sir.
Because it's a situation has been created, you have to handle it across. Okay. Whom do you give this success at? Who is to give a credit for this success? Your own effort, isn't it?
To the main character.
So you become selfish to that extent. Except for taking the help of the people, telling the informed, call the ambulance, you have taken no help of us and at all from anyone else. Have you taken? So now when I have talked to number of people, so you have omitted the number of other people involved into the system. One advantage that you have taken is you have called that, no, that's why you call the ambulance. Now, if before has the ambulance come, you have taken him to a hospital where the call for ambulance has gone. Has it reached or not? Did you use that ambulance or not? If you have used it, what happened after that? Was it necessary? Not if the injury was minor, you could have taken help of local resource itself. You got a success. You have informed the people. If the manner, if the incident or the accident itself is a minor nature, he was well within a control to take control of himself. Is it or not? So
Yes.
nothing great you have done. Have you done anything great?
No, sir.
Okay. So that's how the things should really be working. You have to think about every aspect of it.
Aspect.
I have tried to analyze about the six of his story in a six different ways, so that to understand what it has to be a story. It has to be a story. And what is the aim of the story? Aim the story to bring out your 15 qualities. 15 qualities.
Quality.
Okay. Is it the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me a story now.
Joshi is from a village in Buldana and had contested for Panchayat election and won the election. He is one of the youngest members of the Panchayat and was very active since day one. The finance budget had recently been rolled out, and Joshi was aware of all the schemes rolled out by the government. He conducted frequent meetings, making people aware of the schemes and how they could avail them. He also made sure that he addressed to any problems and grievances faced by the villagers. The members and the villagers were very happy with Joshi's initiativeness.
Okay. Now, tell me, is it a politics? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Why not? You get a
My
village.
story, yes, sir. Yes.
It's a politics. You remember what I have said? I have said you will not use a story which has got politics, religion, caste, creed, and all things involved. Right? Okay. Fair enough. Even if you become a member, or say, how did you become a member? What efforts did you put in to become a member? What was your qualification to have done that? And even after having been the member of the outside panchayat, you have become a councillor or whatever was there, sarpanch, councillor, mukhya, whatever with case. You were very conscientious. That's all you are talking about it. And recently you have talked about that the union budget was passed, and you have picked up what were the final points of the budget, and you wanted to sensitize the environment about it. Is it? Okay. Is it the job of is it the only job of a councillor or the panchayati Raj system? Panchayati Raj system talks about it, that it is supposed to look after the welfare of the people at local level. That local level involves what? Roti kapra makan. What is this? He is a person who is responsible for the sanitation, health, hygiene, sanitation, drainage, drinking water. These are all the jobs that he is supposed to perform. As a village, sarpanch, mukhya, and what was the name may be, dependent. That is what it is, the normal job. It means what? You are far removed from the ground realities. So we talk about big five. Open to experience gets questionable. Right? Nothing great. What is the action he has taken? Except for briefing about what have been given in the budget. Anything else? No action has been involved. Is there any action? No. So that is what really should we really bother about it. Okay. Is the next one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shaunak had recently completed his advanced course on mountaineering, and before Everest, he wanted to complete an even more challenging hike of Kanchenjunga. He got hold of all the resources he needed for the hike, the permission he needed. Once he got everything, he prepared himself physically, as the hike is going to be a challenging one. During the hike, as he expected to be During the hike, as he expected, it was very tough, especially near the summit. His team often thought of giving up, but Shaunak constantly boosted their spirits. Finally, they were able to reach the summit on the 15th day, and Shaunak was overwhelmed with the emotions on completing the hike.
Okay. Again, look at it. It's a you wanted to scale Everest, isn't it? Are you permitted to scale any mountain piece as alone as a single entity yourself? You are going as a team, as an organization, isn't it?
Yes.
You require resources. Even if you have to go to Kanchenjunga, how many people would you require? Would they permit you to go to Kanchenjunga? Their itinerary for every mountain, isn't it? Their itinerary are there. You have to apply in advance, and then all these things are planned, because it's not only Akash is going to be attempting it. There mean many organizations who will be attempting that, isn't it? Right? So first and foremost is the organization. The first and foremost, you have to take the permission. And it's not only the concern, even if you Akash wants to scale it up, you can join a team or you can form a team. You can form a team. So neither you have joined a team nor you have formed a team. Okay. Even if you're going across there, you require money and resources. From where did you get those money and resources? What are the preparation did you do for that? And starting of the story itself, you said, I want to go up to Everest. What happened to that aim? You missed out totally. It means what we have written, that was not necessary. You have taken a small piece of information and you have not been in a position to build up a story which should be coherent. It's a story writing, isn't it? You have to convey, bring out your 15 qualities through the story. So you are inconsistent in the total writing the story itself, aren't you?
Yes.
Tell me yourself now. Can you scale up Kanchenjunga alone?
No, sir.
Would they permit you? There's so many clearances are required, and you have to apply now. So it's not only you. There will be hundreds of people who will want to, and they are all given slots and timings. Slots and timings. So what we are trying to, there's a need for understanding what is expected. It is your 15 quality which are needed, correct? Yes or no? Okay.
Yes.
Read the next one.
Yes, sir. Vinay belonged from a small village in Patna and was a very good runner. He did not belong from a very wealthy family, and so he could not afford shoes for running. But that did not dampen his spirits. He would still run barefoot. He had the state tournaments coming up, and so he ramped up his practice. He
How many
would
lines have
practice
passed by
twice.
now?
So 5-6 times.
6 lines. What have you done? He wants to become a good runner. That's the only problem definition has taken. That's all. And there's a press. He doesn't know what is the press. He doesn't know about shoe. It's a very trivial, isn't it? A trivial issue.
Yes, sir.
So what the triviality? What are you going to achieve? आगे चलिए.
He had the state tournaments coming up, and so he ramped up his practice. He would practice twice during the day, and seeing his dedication, the villagers decided to buy him a new pair of shoes. During the day of the tournament, he performed well and secured first place. He was then invited to Sports Authority of India to carry out his practice
Okay.
further.
Now, just imagine going straight from village to state level. Is it possible? No. And what villagers have done it? They have purchased a shoe for him. What the cost of shoe is? 5,000 rupees? 10,000 rupees? Is it or not? That's the maximum. So what is? Who has done it? Except for running himself. What is it? Ramped up the, so you again, you are trying to beating around the bush. You are not trying to know. You are just trying to know circumstance. He ran around. Generalist. You are trying to general information you are giving it. Specific details which are required are missing. Is it missing or not?
Yes, sir.
It's okay. Now, look at it now. Let's analyze. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So, there you could have simply talked about, yes, he is a person who was a good runner, who is participated in the village, he went to the block or district level, he was selected from that, and then ultimately he was selected for this. So you have to ramp up that from lower to higher level. And shoe becomes a very trivial aspect of it. He would have been given, if he had won the tournament at the district level itself or the block level, I think the authority itself would have donated a shoe to him. So again, I understand it is your qualities which are important. You must bring out of the 15 qualities, isn't it? What are those 15 qualities? First quality is effective intelligence, use of intelligence to find day-to-day problem. Only shoe, getting a shoe is a very trivial issue. And that shoe के लिए वहां पर कुछ then create any in a good story by itself. So now you are trying to find a solution only for getting a shoe, isn't it? Nothing more. Then is reasonability. So again gets questioned. So effective intelligence, reasonability gets questioned to that extent. Organizing, he is not able to organize. It is the villagers who have helped him to organize things. Means all first quarter factor one gets compromised to that extent. Okay. Okay. Read the next one.
Cheyenne is the only son to his mother, and he lost his father at a very young age. Their family had no income source, so from a very young age, he took up a job to generate extra income for him and his mother, along with his studies. He was preparing alongside for his JEE mains. He would come back from school and then leave for his job, and at job he would go through his study materials he had during breaks. Cheyenne sure enough cleared the mains and advance and got into IIT. He made sure that he had done some savings for his mother so he could look after her while he was gone.
Okay. What happened after that? Okay, very nice. It's a better story, better starting. Here's the only problem what he come back, he had no income, and from that he started earning for himself. How? Which job was he picking
Look
up?
after next.
Which job? What is the job? And then he getting for JE, again he requires money. Even if to join IIT and all, what is that today? You require almost 2 lakh to 3 lakhs rupees. Even IIT is seeking for that money. How do you arrange that money? You require about say 2 lakhs and odd rupees. Even for IIT, they require money. I think maybe a scholarship, maybe anything around there. Something has to be arranged. How much money would his mother require? What did he do after that? That have to be understood. What did he do after that? That is the post question, isn't it? So you started off well, fair enough. That's okay. That is, he was a poor boy. He wanted to do well in studies, and he didn't, since he didn't have resources, he started working. Working where? How much money was he earning? What did he do with that money? Only look after his family, eating. How was his education funded? So the details, until you give out the details, nothing is going to be of any use. Okay. Okay. Next one.
Yes. Vishal was on his way to college when on his way he saw that a car had crashed into a bullock cart. He quickly looked if anyone had been injured, and thankfully no one was. He helped the man along with his cart at the side of the road, and to prevent any commotion from happening, he cleared the road with both the parties as there were a lot of debris around. He then helped the car driver to along with the car to the nearest garage and get his car fixed.
Okay. What is his contribution then? Helping, keeping aside the debris and bringing it to one side of the road, isn't it? Anything beyond that? Anything beyond that? and taking the car driver to the nearby garage. Only 2 actions he has taken, isn't it? So this particular lifting can be done by anyone, even laborer who is passing by. He will also help you to keep the debris aside. So unless the problem definition is right, your story would not come out, would it? No? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next one. Yeah, tell me.
Avilash had planned that after his graduation he would complete the Khir Ganga trek, and he was very fond of trekking. Once he completed his graduation, he started preparing himself for the trek. He had been saving up some money for it. He bought the items like the gears he needed, contacted an agency, and got uh, got uh, got a good deal. He used to run 6 kilometers every day to improve his stamina for the trek. He finally did the trick, and he was looking forward to. Though it was a long and tedious one, he enjoyed every bit of it.
Okay. Now, Khir Ganga. Where is Khir Ganga? What is it? It is to be a river, mountain, hills, and all. Kahan par hai?
Sir, Uttarakhand.
Oh, no, okay, that's okay. That I won't know. No. So Khir Ganga is a hilly track, mountain, forest. That
Yes,
you have to
sir.
bring it out. What you aim is to bring out your. It has to come out from your story, isn't it? You expecting that I know what is Khir Ganga, Uttarakhand, and then that's one aspect. That solve my problem. He says Khir Ganga, hilly track. He wanted to go 25 kilometers trekking from the system. Okay, very nice. Now, for trekking, why do you require a gear? What is the need for gear? And where the need of getting a good deal? Use the word good deal. Is it not? You are going for trekking. There's a difference between trekking and mountaineering. For trekking, you don't require a gear and another aspect, do you? Do you require? Just tell me, yes or no. Yes, for mountaineering, you would be requiring so many other equipments in the system. For trekking, you require just you have to be self-contained. That's all. हाँ भाई बोल आकाश.
Yes, sir.
नहीं. So the problem is your plot, your thinking is assigned to all the stories. Thinking is nothing wrong with the system. You want to be positive. There's nothing wrong with the system. But until those 15 qualities come, it's again a child. It has to match your age, maturity level. You are no more a child, isn't it? You can't afford to be wishful and imaginative only. You have to be on the ground, foot on the ground. Okay, let's read the next one, the blank story.
Gagan had recently competed in Santosh Trophy in football and was a sensation around the locality. The children looked up to him, but there were not any academies around, not a proper facility to train. So Gagan took up the initiative to set up a training camp. He coached the children himself every evening after his own practice. The children were hardworking and fed off from the motivation Gagan used to give them. He always stayed back long hours to tell the children about his journey and to journey in different tournaments. He how much fun and rewarding it was. He also looked after the children and saw to it if any of the parents had trouble financing the children, and he stepped in to the best of his abilities. His hard work for the children paid off, and few of the children went on to represent our country in football.
No, country will come later on, no? Akash. Your plot was okay, very nice. You're in started, so Gagan as Santosh Trophy winner, wanted to contribute, motivate people in his own area around there very nicely. He started devoting a lot of time for the facilities so they train them up. He formed a local club which after participating, number of people were selected for the district and other level around there. Ultimately, few of them have been represented at high state, and then ultimately they went on to become champions or the Indian team. They became part of the. Then that would have been evolution would have been better. Your plot is okay. What you have got in Mr. Basically, you got no. You getting they remain. You can't afford to get defocused. What the problem with in spite of the fact that your thinking is right, but you're not in a position to exploit them. Exploit them. You have to bring out, understand, it is not the writing a story which is important, it is the bringing out the 15 quality which is more important. And it has to be a story, it can't be a simple description. Okay, so that's the, now having seen that much around there, let's talk about a bit on what are the 15 quality, how do the child, just take few of them, let's take few of them. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk. We talk about effective intelligence. How do you find out? Is the story can be simple or familiar? All your stories, it has to, if it is jitna hi simple hai, to utna hi, it has to, they have to certain amount of complexity in your story. And that's your story should be clear. Saaf suthra hona chahiye. Your intent should be very clear, what you want to achieve. And you must have a problem which is of certain, which requires certain effort. Otherwise, trivial niket jaakar jaana to koi fayda nahi hai na. This last story, yes, it has that. You want to develop potential, that's good. But removing debris is very trivial issue, isn't it? So you can't say you must describe the problem. There must be success at the end, and success should be realistic and possible. You can use then only, and you have to write half a page, which you are writing. I have no doubt about it. You're writing more than half a page. You can do that well. You must give why you have taken that action. So that indicates your reasoning ability, receptivity, logical sense. Can you understand the problem which you have created? Have you understood the problem and have you in a position to solve it or not? That is what the main problem. Is your thought making sense or nonsense? Any decision, any conclusion that you have drawn, does it have logic or not? So that is what is important as far as reasoning ability is concerned. Then after that, no, everywhere you're talking, throughout you have been in a position to talk about is self, but nothing group comes. You have a clear, realistic, and your story should be clear, realistic, and original. Wherever possible, talk about the group rather than self. A story should be as complex as possible. That indicates that should match your age and age, that you mature and maturity, age, and qualification. Story can be written by you and story can be written by a 5-year child also. They are ultimate difference. Okay. Any doubt, any question?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.